Hello, my name is Jason Kirchhoffer, and this is my presentation for my paper entitled Protecting Personal Information, Policy for a Connected World. Social networking has become a large part of everyday life for people all across the world. You have websites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram that allow people from across the world to connect and share with each other. Users of social media, as it's known, are able to create online profiles displaying personal information such as employment status, educational background, personal relationships and associations, and even allows people to post personal thoughts, ideas, photos, videos, and they can choose to share this information with a select group of people that they choose, or with the entire world by making their profiles public. If they choose to make their profiles public, they are putting their privacy at risk. Libraries have started embracing social networking in everyday operations as a way to connect with the community and advertise for free. Although using social networking is easy, it's effective and cost-free, it has forced libraries to change local policies in order to set the guidelines for proper use by employees and ensure legal protection for the library, and to protect patron privacy at the same time. Today there are a number of popular social networking sites, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, among others. Facebook is easily the most popular social network in the world, and monthly it touts over 1.4 billion active users, at least through the first quarter of 2015. It was originally for college students only, and each campus would have their own network, and it would require the user to have a registered school email address. After a few years of exponential growth and popularity, it was open to the public. In order to use Facebook, the users must register and create an online profile in order to connect with friends or join groups. As stated before, personal information to include, but not limited to, name, birth date, educational background, employment status, personal relationships, group memberships can be posted on these online profiles. And as I said before, the user can choose to make their online profile private, sharing it with only friends, or they can make it public and share it with everyone that has access to the internet. All social networking sites allow users to post photos and videos to share with others. Facebook has the option to run those posted photos through a facial recognition algorithm that logs biometric information into a database in order to identify all individuals within the photo. After it's initially run through that algorithm, individuals can be automatically identified each time a photo of them is posted. These photos are also compared to previously posted photos on other profiles to accurately name them. Users can opt out of this facial recognition software, but the biometric data is still collected and stored in a database. The biometric data, in combination with posted personal information, raises a number of concerns over privacy. Despite these concerns, many studies have shown that users are willing to take risks with their personal information in order to connect on social networks. Despite the potential for violations of patron privacy, social networking offers many potential benefits for libraries. For one, using social networking is completely cost-free. Library profile pages can be made available to the public or can be made private to control the flow of information. Each employee of the library can potentially assume the duties of updating these social network sites since there are no required administrative permissions. All information can be edited quickly and can be made available to all who wish to access the profile or follow the library. Information can also be deleted or amended quickly if found to be incorrect. Having an active presence on social networks is an easy way to reach fringe demographics such as young adults and teens, and is a great way to encourage increasingly popular digital services such as ebooks and music streaming. In addition to taking advantage of social networks, many libraries across the United States have started to adopt a modernized web service known as Library 2.0. This web service borrows from social networking and that it allows for greater user participation and for the creation of community content. Users are able to comment on new materials, create reviews for existing materials, join and participate in discussion forums, and communicate with library staff in addition to the management of normal library services such as book renewal and material requests. Users must register separately from their local library account, and they have to create online profiles in order to participate in these enhanced social features. These profiles are not publicly available and are only visible to individuals approved by the user. All patron activity, including all personal information provided, is tracked and collected and retained. Users may also be required to create accounts in order to participate in any third party to offer services such as ebooks and digital audio. Any personal information made available to these third party services is subject to the terms of service for that third party vendor and could potentially be sold or shared. Libraries have always made the protection of patron information a priority in everyday operations. Only the minimum information needed for library services is ever collected. This mission of patron protection is particularly true when it comes to the digital realm. Libraries need to protect the freedom of inquiry. However, anyone that uses the internet leaves a trail of information, including browsing history and the location of the computer. If proper safeguards are not taken, these details can be associated with individual users. So it is the responsibility of the library to ensure proper policy is in place. There is no single set policy on how libraries should handle patron information in regards to social networking and involvement in Library 2.0. These policies must be developed by each library or district and should be dependent on the services offered. They should also be subject to update in order to keep up with changes in technology, software, or terms of service. And these developed policies should include proper use guidelines for both patrons and staff and be transparent to potential risks of personal information. Proper use guidelines should make up the basis for any library policy involving the use of social networks. These guidelines should be made available to the public and upon registration for library services. Library employees must be made aware of what is appropriate and what could be considered offensive or potential violation of patron privacy. Employees must also be educated on how to moderate patron messages in order to make that determination of what is appropriate or inappropriate. All official communication must remain professional. All employees that use social networks should avoid tagging or linking patron profiles to pictures or messages without permission. Patrons must also understand what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. Punishments for violations of these proper use guidelines must be clearly outlined and concise. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. This is particularly true when it deals with the protection of patron information and privacy. Libraries must make transparent the risks that patrons face when posting private information on social networks. The default settings for all social networks make profiles public. Providing education on how to change these settings is vital to protecting personal information. Additionally, the creation of instructions or visual guides on how to change these security settings will help patrons that don't have time to attend classes or sit with library staff members. Terms of service for these networks are often lengthy and difficult to understand. So it should be up to libraries to translate these terms of service into terms that anybody can understand. This will help make the decision on whether or not to use social networks or third-party services easier for patrons. Overall, the most important thing that a library can do to protect patron privacy on social networks and enhance library services is to change the overall attitude towards privacy. Personal information provided to libraries is protected under state law in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. However, personal information provided to social network sites is not. Outrage and controversy caused by Facebook over their facial recognition software and the introduction of social feeds indicates that people are concerned for their privacy. However, recent studies and polls have shown that people are increasingly willing to sacrifice personal privacy in order to use these social networks. So an effective library policy, in combination with assertive and educated staff, can demonstrate the importance of protecting personal information on social networks and enhance library services. As the world continues to embrace social networking and the risks that come along with its use, libraries should continue to be leaders and innovators in the protection of patron privacy and personal information. This will allow the benefits of using social networks to far outweigh the risks.